On GB News, what began as a routine discussion on public debt erupted into a fiery showdown. While the Chancellor attempted to downplay the terrifying numbers, shocking truths emerged, revealing an imminent collapse that threatens the British economy. The host wasted no time in exposing the contradictions, showing viewers how the government is denying the looming disaster as borrowing costs soar and bond markets crumble. It was a humiliating moment, a public slap in the face, when the Chancellor was left speechless, unable to answer the question that silenced the room. At last, the truth burst into the light. Before this, I want to say a big thank you to all our supporters who helped us reach our very first 1,000 subscribers. That achievement truly means a lot and inspires us to keep giving you our best. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Most people who watch our videos aren't actually subscribed. We know life gets busy, but subscribing is completely free and it really helps us grow. Our next goal is 3,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can get there even faster.
In that paper, and today a big column from Liam in the Daily Mail today. Liam, welcome to the programme. One thing today that really hit me from your article, you said the last time bond yields, namely what government has to pay to borrow money on 30-year bonds, was at this level, our debt to GDP ratio was 36%, and now it's 100. I mean, from reading your piece today, you really believe we're in deep trouble, don't you?
I do, Nigel, and you know me well enough that you'll believe me when I say it gives me no pleasure to say that we're deeply in trouble. And also, I think to be fair and even-handed, it's worth saying that Labour had a really bad economic inheritance from the Tories. National debt was already approaching 100% of GDP when the Tories left office. Debt service costs were already very high. The tax burden, tax as a share of GDP, was already a 70-year high. But Rachel Reeves and Labour have made it much, much worse because they've jacked up borrowing, they've jacked up spending, not least in that October Halloween budget last year. They jacked up borrowing and spending again in April, and they're going to do the same this coming October, November, the next budget. And guess what? Financial markets, they don't care what the Bank of England's saying about interest rates. They're just mood music, what the Bank of England's doing, because the financial markets, the big insurance companies, the investment houses, the sovereign wealth funds that actually determine borrowing costs in the economy, they're saying we don't believe the bank gilt yield. It sounds like arcane. Basically, the long-term cost of government borrowing, it's the basis for every borrowing cost in the economy, whether it's your hire purchase agreement on your car or in the long term your mortgage. Certainly, it determines what the government pays, is now at its highest in over a quarter of a century. Yes, Blair came in on a big majority with a high gilt yield, but he had government debt of just 36% of GDP. When you're paying a massive gilt yield on 100% of GDP, your debt service costs go through the roof. That's why, Nigel, we're now paying more on debt interest. The government's paying more on debt interest than we spend on schools. Twice what we spend on education. We talk about a 50 billion black hole. We may have to all pay 50 billion quid's worth more of taxes this October. Guess what? That's just half our debt service bill. Yeah, just half.
I know. So, Liam, we're in this mess, but Rachel Reeves has another budget in the autumn. Perhaps she can turn this round.
Well, if she comes to the House and doesn't address what's happening on financial markets, if she just ignores it, if she just stays in line with the sort of youthful advisors around her who just say, oh, don't worry, bond yields are going up across the country, unless she acknowledges that government borrowing costs now in the UK are well beyond where they are in Greece, Spain, Italy. Nice places to go on holiday, not necessarily paragons of virtue when it comes to budgetary discipline, with respect to my Greek, Spanish and Italian friends. Bond yields are now way above where they were at the height of the mini budget crisis under Liz Truss. Do you hear that from other broadcasters? No, you don't.
I know. Why? Why is it not being discussed?
Because I think that there was a lot of ideological aversion to what Liz Truss was trying to do from our mainstream media, but also because Liz Truss made mistakes. I've got some respect for Liz Truss, as you know. but it was wrong to not tell the OBR about your budget. It was not wrong to not give the Bank of England the details of your budget. I understand why she was frustrated at those organisations, but you can't just ride roughshod over the institutions in real time. Reform them if you want. But look, the big picture here, Nigel, and it's a decision for the Tories and with respect your party as well. Who is going to be the grown up in the room here? Who is going to stand up for mathematical and financial reality? We are spending way beyond our means. The markets are now starting to call time on the UK economy in the way they're scrutinising no other major economy in the world. We face a 1976 style meltdown when we went cap in hand to the IMF. It's not just me that's saying that, Nigel. It's now very serious people. My Sunday Telegraph, the article in the Sunday Telegraph reflected an interview on my When the Facts Change Substack with a guy called Jajit Chadha, who's a Cambridge professor, one of the most respected economists in Britain, very much a sort of non-political guy, mild-mannered.
Wow.
And after that interview, you had two other former members of the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee,